to some F1 pole position. Unlike usual, I have not played this game since you last saw me, since yesterday. I have not played this. I got off from doing it yesterday, and in total, yesterday I spent about 6 hours playing my Switch on my day off, and like 30-45 minutes doing this, and I did not want to do more of this. Not really because it's bad. It's not great, and I think that things are going to be better than it. But mostly because I'm not that into it. As I'm sure that y'all heard me say the whole time what it was. Pretty much, I don't anticipate doing like really much more of this after I cut this video for you tonight. Because, like, I know this is what I signed up for and everything, but, you know, I played this game, and, you know, there's not really that much to get out of it, especially not when, you know, I actually really want to do other stuff, either on the 64 that's not this, because there's a lot of games to play, or... What the fuck is that? There's a lot of games to play on the 64, even just to finish out 1997 time, so... Wow, that's a rough expert. A lot of games to play. A lot of other games to play that are on the 64 right now. And as I said just a bunch of times, if there's anybody else Let's Playing this, it's probably not because they are just doing it to fulfill obligation. It's because they're going to be more into it, and there's the people that you should watch do this unless you're specifically interested in seeing someone who just wants to play all the games. As far as fulfilling my duty on this, I usually feel like that I've done that. Because of my experience with it, and mostly what I'm about is documenting my experience with these games. So anyway, as usual, someone who's super interested in, especially this game, Mike, the Honest Gamer is here. When he gets around to the F1 transition, he's going to be very into it, because he's into this game and the Grand Prix, and he's actually been very, very helpful, kind of understanding just the concept of F1 and stuff, so I appreciate that, Mike. He's here chatting with me to answer dumb questions I might have, such as like the last race when I was like, how are we down to 10 cars? It's because they crashed out, so we went from that corner. That was important. And also, you know, because he's doing the same thing as I am, he did a great second, I'll be honest with him. We were talking today about how, wow, goddamn, there's like no sound effects in this game, and what really got me, like, I'm always super self-conscious about losing dead air, because I haven't been doing this that long. One of the cardinal rules that I understand people are supposed to follow when they do these with commentary is not to leave into dead air. However, I think about stuff like music and sound effects constantly, and if I don't stop talking, you won't hear any music, and you won't be able to hear any of the sound effects very well up against my voice, which is not a very fun voice to listen to anyway, I'm sure. Listen to this. It sounds terrible. And so, like, when I'm playing, for example, Mario Kart, I'm totally cool with a couple stretches here and there where I'm not singing. Yeah. Mario Kart has great music, and I want people to hear it. When I don't talk in this video, what are you hearing? You're hearing fairly crappy engine sound, you know, as you tell. I mean, there's no, like I was pointing out, there's no announcements, there's no commentating, there's no music, it's just the engine. Excuse me. As far as sound goes with this game, it gets like a 2. This is really nothing. And that actually goes to... Oh my god, there's so much left in this video because I still have to do a real race. I'm already using up all my talking points that I planned out. Judging from this, what we've seen so far, the first 2 races, I know I mentioned that Human Entertainment, the ones who made this game, made a lot of games for the Super Nintendo. And there's even a Super Nintendo control scheme available on the options menu before you go into the race. You can mod your car a little bit, which is cool, but I wouldn't know what to do with it except make it easier for myself. And then there's all those different control schemes, right? One of which is Super Nintendo. So do you get the feeling that Human Entertainment wasn't doing that much besides make their Super Nintendo games into 3D? It feels a lot like a Super Nintendo game. Because on a Super Nintendo game like this, if you can at least pull off decent, 3D effect, not full 3D, but a 3D effect with Mode 7 is it. Stuff that they've been doing as far back as pole position, real pole position, in the arcades, and on the Atari. As long as you can pull that off with a bunch of other cars, make it look good, give yourself a sense of speed, and not have to control like absolute garbage, you got yourself a decent racing game. When we come to the N64, not only at this point in time, which I'm referring to 2017 when we were looking at how they age, and having all these racing games at our disposal to play and compare it to, and know how things are supposed to kind of feel and go and all that. Well, even look at it in 1997 when I've just played Top Gear Rally, which I think plays a lot better than this. Even though it's on full sim, it plays better, and it's completely different racing. I played Top Gear Rally, I played MRT, I played Mario Kart, Cruising USA. Even Cruising USA is the exact opposite of that. Just based on like, what's in there. And you look at the presentation in this game, it just doesn't feel like enough sometimes. These graphics during 3D in this, the draw distance isn't terrible, which is always a problem with N64 games. Sometimes the draw distance is pretty poor. But the draw distance isn't look terrible right now. Even though there's light fogging, it's more of a weather effect. There definitely wasn't that much. If I remember correctly from yesterday, there definitely wasn't that much. Let's see if I can read this comment. Mike, Honest Gamer Mike says, I can tell you right now the major flaw of this game. All the F1 tracks have braking meter signs when it counts down the distance to a corner, so you can gauge your braking distance going in. They're missing from this. So that's something I had no idea about, and that's why I'm really grateful. Thank you very much, Mike, for being here and telling me these things about F1 racing and stuff that I wouldn't know.
You're slowing down.
If you are supposed to know in a real F1 race, which this is supposed to be representative of, how far it is to a corner, that's something that's in the tracks that they put, and it's not in this game. That's a huge flaw. I wouldn't know that if it wasn't for Mike, or anybody watching this week, they would know what they were doing. And that's why I'm not offering that much personally. I feel like when I'm doing that one game or something like that. But yeah, now that I've heard that sounds like a huge oversight. And I don't know if they're in Human's Super Nintendo F1 games. I feel like that would also be a flaw in those games as well. Yeah, to be honest, I feel like there's quite a number of flaws in this game just on what's not
Fastest
here.
lap.
Okay. What the fuck is this? I'll tell you what I do like about this guy. I could two big ass straightaways in there. Well, actually three. I'm on right here now. And that's actually what Mike's saying right now, is that this track needs those distance meters because of all the straightaways. If you're on the straightaway, you need to know. I mean, let's put it this way. In a real race, you're not going to have this helpful little track overview that I personally think that most racing games should have. I'll say that. MRC and Top Gear, I wouldn't have to. Right. You're not going to have this thing in like top left corner on the HUD that says
You're slowing down.
how the track played out. But that's not the same level of authenticity that you're going to get from the signs that are supposed to be here to tell you what's right. So that's straight up. Maybe I have an idea as to how far off the corner is when I'm driving and I'm looking over at the map, but it's not the same thing as what I'm being told should be in there. So yeah, that's still a huge problem. I don't think that's right. Luckily, I only have one lap left in this qualifying race.
Player 1, final lap.
So the top speed on this car was to be about 280 kilometers an hour. Pretty goddamn fast. And I'll say that I like this track because it has these straightaways and then the rest of it allows me to use that and just get a glimpse of how fast this car can go. And I will say about F1 racing, that's completely different from thing that I'll say I like about it. They have tracks with designs and different turns and things. And somehow, this brand of racing is less popular than NASCAR, I think, in the United States. Definitely not as much in other parts of the world. I'm pretty sure F1 takes precedent in other places, but as far as I can tell, NASCAR has this beaten out big time in the United States, which I don't get. Sure, but by the way, if nobody's had this yet, this is some fantastic stuff from the makers of I am allergic to speed. From the makers of Not Your Father's Root Beer, Not Your Father's Ginger Ale, Not Your Father's Cream Soda. It's Not Your Mom's Strawberry Rhubarb. They also have Not Your Mom's Apple Pie, and it's delicious. They say beer. It says beer on the label. And I keep looking at that and I go, how does this even qualify as beer? Is it? Yeah. I think it's weird that you can even call it beer, but yeah. What is happening?
Watch yourself.
Alright, so we're on off first. Yeah. Mike's pointed out that the first 3 cars pretty much just went straight through me when the race started here. This is great physics engine going on. I mean, it's more of a physics engine than we got out of MRC or anything like that, but that's not very high standard. Yeah. I genuinely, if this game feels like a Super Nintendo game that's brought into 3 dimensions, which isn't even inherently bad. I just think that with the level of features and other things that have been put into it, that's what it feels like, and I'm going to stick to it on that. From the way that people talk about World Grand Prix, the other 2 games, I have really no idea, but from the way that people talk about those games, much higher level, but it's like I'm trying to figure out how these assholes who are in like the top 3 spots are so far ahead. I just got carried away and just skidded right into the wall. Thank God I didn't have like damage on. I'd never last in this game with actual like damage being done to the car. That's one way in which this game might actually be semi-realistic is with damage and stuff like that, but I know that's just a bad idea. It's not something I should do. Great. So I feel like I'm shooting for 4th place, even at this point. I don't know, how far away? Am I really that far out? These guys uncatchable? Oh my god. Well, that was not real at all. I just bounced right back off the wall right there. That's ridiculous.
Fastest lap.
That was a semi-okay turn. You know, I just remembered something. I have not even remotely attempted to turn what you call properly in this game. Mostly because I just don't know how to brake. I feel like there's an art to that, but I don't know if this game is ever going to really teach me that art. But I mentioned it. I mentioned how like that's basically the key, from what I can tell by what it said in Nintendo Power and shit like that. The key is learning how to turn properly, braking, speeding through, and cutting across the apex and turning properly. I just in the past couple turns have put that into my mind and tried to do it, and I'm not even close to doing it properly, I can tell. That's partially my fault,
You're slowing
because
down.
I haven't exactly practiced this. Oh my god, really? What the fuck? But, I know that's a thing. I'm never going to be able to do that. Yeah, that's not... I mean, if... The way it was, blue shell. I need the blue shell, yeah. Somebody, for the love of God, give me a fucking blue shell, because it's the only way I'm gonna make it through this. The only way I'm gonna get anything better than, fourth. Actually, that guy who's in first is way out in front of me. Like, way out in front of everybody. So, I'm looking away from the actual track and looking at the map and see how far ahead this speed is. Also, notice on this track, it doesn't trap you into the goddamn pit lane.
You're slowing down.
I'm slowing down on the straightaway. That's the only thing it says to you over your headset or whatever the fuck. The only thing this game says to you is that you're slowing down, and it usually says it on the straightaway. I think it's referring to my lap time, saying that I had a slower lap than the one before, but it sounds so stupid when it says it. So yeah, I can kind of see now actually that the cars are crashing out. Oh yeah, and if you look at the dots, actually, they stay as stationary dots on the map, which actually just make it fucking confusing. Mike says, it might be a sector time too. All the tracks are broken down into 3 sectors. I did not know that, and I did not get the slightest inkling that that's a thing from this game. I think that's the more important part, is I could have looked that up and researched it myself, but maybe it would be suggested to me at any point, whether it's during this game or reading the Nintendo Power thing, it might have been suggested to me, but this is the first time hearing of it. Whatever. Mike, you are my F1 strategy guy. He says I can be your F1 strategy guy. It's not even a strategy thing, it's just how does this shit work? I'm completely unaware. It's okay, I got baseball for you, buddy. Baseball, some finer details on football, I can help. Some other stuff like that. But the racing stuff, the simulation racing stuff, that's all you. It's like the only part of this I enjoy is the straightaways, because it's very satisfying just to get up that fast. God, I can't wait to start the next game though. It's not the next game will be Mace of the Dark Age. That's what I'm gonna say. That's the only thing I'm gonna say before the end of this video. That I am looking forward to starting Mace of the Dark Age. But with 4 games of this exact concept, this F1 racing stuff for me to play, I can't bring myself to play much more of this. Because it's all going to look like this. It's not going to improve. Man, God damn it. I have 3 more laps. 8, 9, and 10. I have 3 laps to go. I'm glad these laps are, this track is an actually shorter length than the one before, that about 10 seconds of my time. 10 seconds when I'm driving. That's how short it is. Get off the fucking grass. The engine sound, which is the only sound effect we have, really. It doesn't sound great, but it sounds a hell of a lot better than the other sound effects, such as the little, like, the gear shift basically is what it is. Whenever I shift, it makes that little. It makes that noise. It sounds not really terrible. It sounds like throwing a rock into a bowl of rice. Like that's what that sounds like. It's not like a rock. It's like a goddamn pebble. And then what else we got? We got a little bit of squeakies going on here. That sounds great. And then we got that little, like, I don't know if it makes it, doesn't make it at all when I'm on, like, a pit. It most of them makes it on, like, when I go a little bit off the pavement, but it's, like, shooting up, like, it's as if I was shooting up, like, gravel or dirt, but there's no, it's not gravel and it's not dirt, it's grass. And it's not like the grass starts to look any different because there's not even, like, tire marks on it. I imagine it's like, it literally feels like when I do that, I'm like kicking up rocks, picking up gravel from the side of the road. There's none there. So it seems kind of dumb to me. And then there's that. That actually sounded alright. You hitting against the barrier sounded okay. That sounds like what that would sound like. Given that they're not just going to have you go through it or completely wreck my car. Oh my god, please be almost done with this. You know, it's funny when you start looking up the games when you're going for a complete set. You do that, and you want to know if the games if they're good. And it's weird when you look at a game like this one.
You're slowing down.
It's something that you're not interested in the slightest, but there's several F1 games. Like I said, there's actually 4. There's Indy Racing, there's World Grand Prix, and there's Monaco Grand Prix. Those, like, specifically F1 games on the N64. And you look at all the games, and you want to know if there are any good ones, if there's anything that you kind of left out. And something that you know nothing about, and it already tells you it's not going to be great. If you go on GameFAQs, I think this is like a below a 3 on the average rating. So I kind of went into this not expecting much. And that's really the main problem is there's just not much here. Like I mentioned right at the beginning, there's no multiplayer. There's no multiplayer whatsoever. Not even 2-player. There's very little sound. The control, from what I can tell, is not great. This FMV sequence, which shows up again, I don't understand. So yeah, it's all those little things. And you just think back to when you were buying these and go, yes, this is what I signed up for. I get it. I don't have to get completely married to. Gotta drool over the FMVs. Don't get completely married to every single game. That's not expected of you. And I have to say that's not what I expect from myself here. I can only do this so much. I played it. I did what I had to do, but I cannot go through a whole bunch more of this. Call me out on it if you must, but I'd much rather just move on to Mace the Dark Age, which, hey, it's not a great fighting game, but I like it a hell of a lot better than the ones I've played so far. It's a killer instinct. So that's what I got lined up next time. I will start that fairly soon. I'm excited about it, because I like it. I like that game. Some people won't, but I like that game. And this is just a bunch of things, teams. That's the next track. Whatever. So catch you next time. Thanks for sticking with me with this. Playing like an hour and a half of this game and knowing that there's not much else I can do with it. I really appreciate it if you stuck with me. Stay around for better things on the horizon. Awesome. I'm gonna go to bed and drink this beer and other things.